This is John Cola with GrowingYourGreens.com. I have another exciting episode for you today. We're outside the local Lowe's store, Lowe's Home Improvement, and we're here today for one specific reason. I heard that they have an earth box type garden for like about 10 bucks. So, I'm here to find out if they have any in stock. And, this is a clearance item, so YMMV. What does that stand for? Your mileage may vary, which means you may go down to your local Lowe's, they won't have it, they won't know what you're talking about because this is a clearance item that have been probably on clearance for several months now. Some stores may still have stock and some stores may not. So what you're going to want to do is actually call them up before you go down to make sure they got it so you don't waste some gas, because it's actually a very valuable resource. In any case, let's actually head in Lowe's and find out if they have this earth box for 10 bucks that will allow you to grow more food because it is self-watering and you could grow indoors or even outdoors with this box. So check it out. Now we're in the section of Lowe's where they have the raised bed gardens, and I always like to peruse Lowe's for good deals on things that allow you guys, and also me, to grow more food. And check it out. I had in a previous episode these little Growums, which is actually really good for teaching kids to grow food. So if you have kids, this is definitely good. I covered these guys. Now these aren't necessarily too great of a deal. They're $2.50. Comes with like a little DVD and interactive to teach kids about growing, which I think is very important because kids are the future. What's really cool here is what's next door, and I didn't see this before at any other Lowe's I visited. This has probably been on clearance for a while, so it may or may not be available at a Lowe's near you. And check it out. This is the Growums Garden in a Box, a complete garden kit and interactive website. And was 30 bucks. It's on clearance now for $10, actually $9.99. So that's a 66% savings. And it includes a pizza garden kit. And what it is, it comes with a self-watering container. It comes with the Growums Magic Soil, which actually looks like the coconut core. Comes with some stickers, big deal, some seed starting pellets, and some cool characters online. Basically, what this is to me, it's basically an Earth Box clone for $9.99. I mean, the Earth Box sells for a lot of money, but this guy, if it allows you to grow some food indoors in the wintertime or on a patio and bring it in when it's cold at night and put it out in the sun, it's gonna be really good. But don't use the herb seeds inside. You're gonna want to grow, things like kale and collards that are more tolerant of the cold weather. So let's go ahead and pull this guy out, and actually we'll show you guys actually what it comes with. Gonna open this guy up here and check it out. If you like purple, this is the garden for you. I personally don't mind the purple color, but this is basically an earth box. It comes with a little block of coconut core here ready to expand once you put it in water. It comes with the little herb seed kit. Comes with the tomatoes, basil, peppers, and oregano, something definitely not to plant during the winter because these are summer crops, save them for next summer. Comes with some Growum stickers. So if anybody got kids, I'll give you these stickers, I don't need them. And of course it comes with complete directions so that you will know how to assemble and start growing some food today. Another thing I like is that, these are all the different parts. This is basically a self-watering container. And, you're just going to add the water and it's going to water itself. In addition, it has these holes on the corners here so that you can add trellises like bamboo stakes to make a trellis system to grow things vertically, which I think is really important. Oh, and on the bottom, it's even set up to put some casters in. You'll probably get some casters that fit in there that actually it does not come with. So this is definitely really cool. Once again, $9.99. What I'm gonna do next is actually purchase this, bring it home, and then I'm gonna set it up and actually show you guys how easy it is to set up and grow in a $9.99 earth box. That's purple. Now we're gonna show you guys how to set up Growum's grow box. As you can see, I got a stack of them behind me because literally I'm gonna fill this patio area with the Growum's grow boxes. So the Growum's grow boxes, which are very similar to an earth box, are excellent container gardens, and this is very beneficial if you have something like a patio or a lanai or a little porch. You can set something on, but you can't grow something in because it's concrete or cement. You could also put these out in your driveway if it gets good sun. So in this area I get good sun over here in the morning to the afternoon. The other side of this actually patio I don't. So we're gonna go ahead and line these guys up actually on this side of the patio and grow some things that are gonna grow this time of year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open up the box and show you guys actually what I got and how easy this is to set up. Alright, so opening the box here, we got the grow box here as you saw earlier. I'm going to toss that out the way. And there's just a few things in here. We got the instructions, and you know, real men don't need instructions. Next, we got the grow block, or the Growums block, and what this looks like is basically some coconut core. And this is the grow-in medium that they ship with the unit. Now you can use this, but I'm gonna only improve on what they're sending due to space and weight requirements. This is something easy that will work to grow in, but you can definitely make it better, and I'll show you guys how to do that when I make up the soil mixture in a little bit. Next, you got some Growums stickers, and I don't really need the stickers. There's even a little sticker that says Blank's Garden, and put your name here, so I could put John's Garden. But in all reality, this actually gardening kit is for kids, and this retails at about $29.99, $39.99, and for kids, this may be an excellent investment in 30 to 40 bucks to teach them how to grow food and to get them started. For us adults, I don't know that I'd spend $30 to $40 on it, but on clearance for 10 bucks, I'd buy it all day long. Definitely a good container garden to grow for 10 bucks. In addition, besides the stickers, they give you some little Growum starter pack, and this is actually kind of cool because you open this up and it looks like little peat pellets in here, and this is a self-watering container. You just water here, and then the water goes to all the peat pellets. They expand the peat pellets, and they give you all the different seeds: basil, oregano, tomato, and peppers, and as well as little plant tags. So this is nice for kids. For us adults, once again, I'm not going to use this, especially because it's not the summer season, and these are summer crops that you should be growing in the summer. So maybe I'll save this for next year. The main value of this kit to me is actually what's left. What's left here is the container itself, and the container here has a little plug in the front, so like if you should overwater it, you can take this plug out so it won't your plants won't drown. And it's a standard just container. This is made out of recycled plastic bottles, so I think that's a pretty good plastic, although it may not be as durable as I'd like, and I'm not sure how this is going to hold up to the UV light and if it's going to last a long time, like some of the real earth boxes and grow boxes are. In addition, we got some plastic parts here, and this is where the assembly comes in, so let's go ahead and open this guy up and start assembling. So we got a bunch of black plastic parts, and then we got these guys here. Now these guys are where you would actually put the water for one of them, which is cool. And this other one is actually literally a dipstick. So a dipstick, just like your car has a dipstick to check the oil, this is actually a dipstick with actually a styrofoam here. Now I haven't seen this on any other product. It's going to go in there, and what's going to happen is, oops. And what's going to happen is when the water is in there, this will actually float up and let you know at this point. And this will actually come up, and on the top here it says empty, half, and full. So if this little thing that says full is at the top of this, then you're full. So I think this is actually really cool because I haven't seen this on any other earth box tile or self-watering container yet. So let's get assembling. Unlike some of the earth boxes, this is actually kind of more parts to put together, and these are basically the little platform that sits on the bottom so that this will work as a self-watering container. And looks very simple. What you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and interlock these guys. Pretty simple, pretty easy. This is like kind of supposed to snap into place. And then you go the over-under thing, and there's some locking tabs that'll lock into place here. Alright, so we got this last tab in here. Alright, got that last tab in there, and this is the platform that it sits on. And then you have little standoffs that you need to pull off from this plastic injection molded thing. I think it'd be much smarter to actually mold into the bottom of the container these standoffs, but they have them separate. So once you got that, then you're just going to go ahead and put these standoffs on the bottom here, and it's pretty self-explanatory. If you can't figure it out, you better read the directions. Alright, so we got all these guys on except the last one, so now we're just going to go ahead and put the last one on. This was actually fairly easy to assemble. Now if you're a kid, you better get an adult to help you with this stuff. Alright, so now that's all good. And they got basically some standoffs here around the corners here where it's gonna have the pipes here to water. We're gonna go ahead and dunk that in the bottom right here like that. Nice and simple. I mean, to me, this pretty much looks like an earth box. Next, we're gonna go ahead and put these tubes in the little holes here. And the tubes kind of come up at an angle, just like so. Once again, you got your dipstick. Don't be a dipstick. Use your dipstick, people. We're going to go ahead and put the dipstick in. Now, if we were to add water, right now it's on empty. If we were to add water, it would go to half full and then full. Man, I like the dipstick a lot. Alright, so man, check it out. That's how easy it is to assemble. Now, once you have it assembled, the hard part begins. You got to actually mix up your soil mixture. Now, you can use the coconut block like they have, but I'm going to make it better. So let's go ahead and show you guys actually how to do that. Now what they recommend actually is you take your coconut core block or their growing medium, and then you're going to add 3 to 4 gallons of water. So I have a nice bucket here, and we're just going to go ahead and slowly add some water. And then we're going to see this guy expand. Now, they just want you to use this block by itself, and what I might want to do is actually weight this down. Now, I'm not exactly sure if they add any fertilizer to this block or not. They probably don't, so then you're also supposed to use your own fertilizer to bring fertility to the coconut block, which is basically just a medium for your plants to root in, because there's not a whole lot of nutrients in the growing block there. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm not going to use the whole growing block like they suggest. I'm going to deviate from the plan, and I recommend that if you guys get a growing box, you guys do that too, because I don't necessarily want to grow in just coconut coir unless I want to do something like hydroponics, where I'm feeding the plants the nutrients, they need specifically. What I prefer to do is to model nature, and in nature, I mean, some things might grow in a coconut block like a coconut tree. But for most plants, they like to grow in a wide variety of different soil mediums and, more importantly, the soil nutrients. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make basically a standard square foot gardening mixture, which also works great for containers. And it's basically, I'm going to use some compost. So we got some Sonoma compost here. We're going to use about 1/3 of the mixture of Sonoma compost, 1/3 of the coconut coir, and then we're going to use this stuff right here, the vermiculite, about 1/3. So those are the main things you'll need to use in your growing mixture to use in the Growums grow box. That being said, you want to ensure that you have enough coconut coir, because the coconut coir is going to be the wicking material that's going to help actually make the self-watering container work. If you put too much compost or too much vermiculite even, the wicking properties actually will not work properly. So that's the base mixture, but of course I like to brew up my own soil mixture. And what we're going to do in addition to the items I just showed you guys are a few things. Now, these are optional, but highly recommended. Number one, I'm going to put some worm castings. So the worm castings is actually another really good soil nutrient to add. In addition, the thing above all else, if you don't use any of these other soil nutrients, you definitely want to get this stuff. This is called azomite. This is A to Z of trace minerals. Really the plants need the trace minerals to function properly, and in most conventional agriculture these days, they're putting in NPK, which is only 3 minerals, but in the azomite, there's over 70 minerals for sure in here in smaller amounts. And I know some of you guys may be thinking, John, is there lead in there? Is there arsenic in there? Well, yes, this does contain small and trace amounts of those minerals, and it's only in large quantities that those minerals form a problem. Nature has been around for a long time and knows how to deal with these minerals in small amounts, and actually they may be required and necessary for some plant growth, as there's new studies and research coming out to show. What I found is that these trace minerals really supercharge your plant growth. You're going to get larger plants, healthier plants, and more importantly, more tasty plants. The last thing I'm going to add to my mixture here today is the California humus. Now, the California humus adds another layer basically is a fungal dominated compost that's made, unlike the bacterial based compost that we're adding here. This adds the other missing element that many soils may be missing, which will actually be able to break down some of the nutrition in the standard compost that your plants can absorb it. Be sure to check my other videos on the California humus if you specifically want to know more and how this stuff specifically works. I have a really excellent video that explains it. I'm just going to go ahead and use like a handful of this stuff because it's actually quite expensive and a little bit goes a long way. Wow, check it out here. Now that I've just been yakking at you guys, this block has been totally expanding. So this bottom just fell off here, and this is the soil mixture we're going to use. We're going to go ahead and turn this guy over on the back side, and we're going to go ahead and add some more water. What I'm going to do now is actually just use a little trowel here to break this up so that it'll actually uncompress a little bit quicker here. Now you can use like a 5-gallon bucket to expand your coconut core. This is like a concrete mixing tub. It works actually very well, also for mixing other soils as well. I'm mixing up the rest of this coconut core here, and this is the growing medium that they want you to use. And you might be wondering, John, what is this coconut core come from? It doesn't look like anything like a coconut, that you know of or that you've seen before, because unless you've been to the tropics, this is actually the husk of the coconut, and actually I have one right here to show you guys. The coconut in the store is usually just that round, like brown, kind of a little bit, hairy thing, and that's the middle of this guy. The coconut kind of looks like a little football, and around that little ball that's in the middle that you guys know as a coconut is the fibrous husk. And this husk is actually a renewable resource. Each coconut tree could put out like 100 coconuts a year. It's a lot of coconuts, and the edible part is inside the nut. And they take out all the fiber and they got to do with it. And they found out that it's actually an excellent growing medium, and I prefer it actually to peat moss, which is not as renewable as the coconut is. It definitely is one of my favorite foods, but while it is one of my favorite foods, I don't think it's necessarily the best growing medium to grow straight in. So that's why I'm going to add some stuff to it and make another witch's brew. So the first thing I'm going to add, it's really important, is the compost. I believe every gardener should be using compost. This is from Sonoma Compost. Now you always want to source the best compost you can. And this is the best compost I could get around in these parts. Get a good organic compost, and not all composts are created equal. You want to try to find a compost that's nice and black, and when you smell it, wow, it should just have like a nice earthy smell like you're walking through the forest. And you want to find a compost that, that doesn't have a whole lot of particulate or little sticks in it. This has some little pieces of sticks and wood and stuff, but it's fairly well broken down, so I like that a lot. We're going to go ahead and mix that into our mixture. The next thing we're going to add is this guy right here. This is the vermiculite, and this is good for some aeration in there. I'm going to go ahead and cut this bag open and just put a few scoops inside. There is our vermiculite. Next, we're going to go add the worm castings, and actually these are earthworm castings. These are one of the best things you can add to your garden. Now you can make your own compost and earthworm castings at your own house. You can simply compost your old, vegetable scraps and food scraps and leaves to make your own compost. And to make your own worm castings, you want to just feed food scraps to worms, which are then going to make the worm castings. You can also buy this stuff actually online really easily. There's a really good company that I'll post in the description down below where you can actually order this for one low price if you can't find it locally. And what I'm going to do here is just add a bunch of the worm castings in. I mean, this stuff is really black gold. This stuff is so black and dark and rich. So we're just going to add a bunch to our mixture here. And last but not least, we got to add the most important thing, the azomite or the trace minerals, the rock dust. Now the azomite may be very difficult to find at a garden center near you, so you will have to mail order it if you want to use it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have really good distribution, and if you go to a garden center and ask for the azomite or other trace mineral supplementation, they might look at you like you're crazy. So don't worry about it. Just check out my other videos to learn the sources of where I buy it. Also, be sure to check my video on C90 SEA-90, which is another form of trace minerals you can put in your garden that they could ship you really easy. So for the azomite, what we normally do is I normally add about 1 pound per 1 square foot of gardening space. This garden box is about 2 square feet, so we're going to add about 2 pounds in there. Now that it's all in here, now fun part, we get to mix it up. I like that the coconut core is a little bit moist, and that's going to help everything mix together and stick together pretty well without too much dust flying. So we're just about done mixing up our soil mixture here. And one of the things that's very important when using a self-watering container like this is you want to make sure your mixture is pretty much like a sponge and it's going to hold and wick up the water. If it totally just falls apart really easily, you know, kind of like sand does, then it's definitely, you know, not going to be good to use in a self-watering container. Now, you don't want it like mud either, where it totally sticks together. You want a little bit of body in there, and this looks like it's going to work pretty well to mix this water up into the plant roots. Next thing, we're going to go ahead and take our grow box here, and we're going to go ahead and simply start loading this stuff in. Now, the most important thing when loading up your grow box with the soil is you want to put it in the corners here. These corners that actually dip down, it's very important to take the soil and pack it into the corners, because this is where the wicking action will happen. You're going to put water underneath this grid here, and the water in there is going to go through the wicking action through the corners here that actually are touching the water up into the main area. So we're going to go ahead and take some of this soil here and literally pack it down pretty nice and tight into the corners, so that will get good wicking action. Alright, that corner is packed down pretty good. Let's go ahead and hit up the other corner. We got that packed down in there, and once you got the two corners packed, we're just going to go ahead and put some of the rest of the mixture in there. Now, don't worry if some of your soil actually drops through the little holes in the bottom and ends up in the water reservoir. No big deal. You just don't want to like be loading this stuff up and then packing it through there. So just going to go ahead and scoop the rest in there. So there, we're all topped off. Now, you don't want to pack this stuff in really tight, but you don't want it too loose either. You want to just, you know, pat it down just a little bit. And one of the things I like to do is always load up the container I'm growing in to the top as high as possible. So we didn't quite make enough soil, so I may add some later. But what we're going to do now, because we're about maybe an inch down from the top, we're going to go ahead and start planting our seeds. And then we'll add some soil in gently on top afterwards. What we're going to plant today are some radishes, and in this container, which is 12 inches by about 2 feet, or about 2 square feet, we'll be able to plant about 32 radish seeds. And they're spaced about 3 inches apart. You could also get away with spacing them actually 2 inches, and some people even do them at 1 inch. That being said, I like you know, some space so that the radish could actually expand out and grow bigger, as I don't want them to stunt their growth. Let's see here. So what I like to do is I'll take a little top here organic salad mix, and I'll just go ahead and put the seeds out there, because they are nice and small, and sometimes they're hard to actually get out of the packet. And we got these guys are actually called the radish purple plums, organic, and actually these were from Walmart. And these are actually the radish sparkler white tips. My favorite tool for using it when doing a container garden is a ruler, and I have a good episode on buying these rulers for a penny. But why you're going to need the rulers to space out all the food you're growing. Now, you know, some people don't use rulers and stuff, and they'll haphazardly throw their seeds in there. But, you know, I'm here to grow food on a production scale at home, and to do that, you need to maximize the use of your growing space. So while Square Foot Gardening does recommend a 3-inch spacing on the radishes, actually today I'm going to go with the 2. So we're going to go ahead and put this ruler in the bed, and we're going to go ahead and basically plant the seeds out every 2 inches. So at every 2 inches, we're just going to go ahead and put a seed. So now that I got all the seeds in place, we're just going to go take our new soil mixture, and we're going to just gently spread that on top as not to disturb any seeds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread this about a ½ inch thick, so that's going to be enough space so that the seeds can germinate and pop out of the ground when they're ready. We got all the soil spread out. The last thing to do is add water to the container, and so they give you this little funnel thing to put on the top, which is kind of nice too, to direct the water in there. We're going to go ahead and pour some water in there. Very simple and very easy. Another thing besides adding water to the bottom, I'm going to just add a little bit of water to the top, you know, where we planted the seeds so that they can start to germinate. Alright, and that's how easy it is to set up one of these Growum grow boxes. Once again, this is a self-watering container, pretty similar to an earth box. I'm glad I found these for 10 bucks, and that now you can actually check out or call or check online your local Lowe's store to see if you can get the deal on these guys as well. I mean, it worked pretty well, and now I just gotta wait for my radishes to sprout and start growing. So if I have a few that don't pop up, that's alright. I'll put seeds in later to replace the ones that don't germinate, and I'm definitely gonna have at least 40 radishes growing in this one container garden. So it's totally amazing to grow your own food and to do it for as little as 10 bucks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. The sun's going down, need to go eat dinner. Once again, my name is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com. We'll see you next time, and remember, keep on growing. Ditch, what are you doing, Ditch? You want to go in the grow box? Oh, Stitch is in the grow box. You're gonna grow bigger, Stitch. No, you didn't. Stitch didn't like the grow box. Stitch, you're gonna grow in the grow box. I didn't want to be in the grow box. Don't put me in the grow box, Mr. John. I just want you to love me. No, I like putting you in the grow box. It's so fun. You're in the grow box, Stitch. Oh, Stitch. Do you like it when you grow? Oh, you know I'm gonna put you in the grow box again, and you didn't like it. All right, no more playing, Stitch. I gotta make the video.